Came back from a few days of camping in the mountains and I saw this article, Comic Books as a Tool for Protest. The medium is tackling some revolutionary topics. I thought, yeah, this is perfect. Resist. Free. yeah, it's worth it at free, maybe for kindling. A woman's place is in the revolution and women's voices will be heard. Grab back with a woman in the hijab. Odd that you're feminist, but you also are pro-Islam. Kind of weird how that works. It's almost as if 2 plus 2 equals 5 and we were always at war with Oceania. I'll read some of this. I don't know how much I can read before I get sick or you get sick listening to it. It's retarded. Medium has added a visual punch to activism since the 1800s by Grace Lee. In the early January morning, the first International Women's March in 2017, Nadja Spiegelman and Francois Mouly loaded up a van with comics and drove into Washington, D.C. They were transporting thousands of copies of the very first issue of Resist, a publication filled with illustrations created in reaction to the 2016 presidential election. Of course, when Donald Trump, your president, won, despite being accused of racist tactics, and the revelation of tapes of the candidate making lewd remarks about women. Did he make lewd remarks about women? Sure. Did Bill Clinton use his secretary as a humidor and then shoot loads all over her face and her dress? Sure. Big deal? Nope, they're politicians. That's what they do. They're humans. They're going to say stupid things. But the accused of racist tactics, well, accusation isn't evidence. It's not the proof. You need to, why not include the quote to let the viewer decide if you actually made racist comments or not. Oh, because you don't want people to think, you want to tell people what to think. And you're afraid that we won't actually find these allegedly racist comments are actually racist, just insensitive. Trump's victory sent Mouly into despair and paralysis. You're an adult. Get over yourself. The logical process for Mouly, the New Yorker's longtime art editor, because of course you are, and author. Thank God you didn't say she's an intellectual, because that's what you left-wing people always do. You're always calling each other intellectuals, but you have degrees in feminism. Those aren't intellectual degrees. A degree in chemistry is an intellectual degree. Working for the New Yorker. Wasn't to Mole in a state of shock. The logical process for Mouly was to resist. So the people chose to elect Donald Trump mainly because his candidate, his competitor Hillary Clinton, is actually, people think she's a lizard person from hell. And who am I to say that they're wrong? The only reason Trump won, a very dislikable candidate, is because Hillary Clinton was even worse than Trump. And as it turns out, Hillary Clinton probably would have got us at war with Russia, and Trump is actually a pretty good president. I know. I didn't think I would be the one saying that, but I can admit when I was wrong. So, the months following the November election, Mouly and her daughter Spiegelman teamed up with the New York comic shop Desert Island to create Resist, a newsprint comic magazine that resists the normalization of fascism and communism. You want to address communism? Because, communism's killed like 200 million people. Maybe touch on how communist revolutions are the most bloody revolutions in world history. I mean, except for Islam. Maybe cover that, I guess we'll just talk about fascism, but we'll just kind of ignore communism. Fair enough. I'm sure that'll be coming later. It was a feeling, they always say, it wasn't real communism or socialism, or it'll work better next time when we're in charge. But then maybe it's not really fascism. Maybe the Germans or the Japanese, the Italians, maybe they weren't doing it right. Maybe fascism will work better if we try it again next time. Is that possible? I mean, the Japanese, the Italians, and the Germans, they didn't actually kill that many people due to fascism. The communists killed a whole lot of people. And to be fair, Islam's killed even more. It's a way of manifesting the solidarity that came from feeling submerged, Mouly says. On Thanksgiving night of that year, Spiegelman sent out an open call for submissions on the internet, expecting no one to respond. Why would you expect no one to respond? A lot of your comrades were blindly insane, rage-filled children who read for 8 hours when the election results came in. Of course they're going to respond. You know that. I know that. Stop with this stuff. You're just acting like children. She was flooded almost instantly with images. Okay, she was flooded with images, eventually receiving 3,000 or so submissions. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the artwork. I'm going to skip to it now in case you don't watch the rest of it. This is, out of thousands of submissions, this is the best of the best that they're showing here. This is the best. This is it. Just soak this in. I guess that girl, Resist 2017, is a Spiegelman. Why would you include her photo? She's not very photogenic. Okay, these are the best of the best. These images. This is, oh, dog. I turned the camera on. The dog wants to walk in front of it. Okay, these are your best images. African woman with an American flag stuffed through her chest. Africans in Africa would kill to come to America because it's awesome. It's awesome here. Okay, let's see. These are their top quality memes. This is the best they have. Build a wall around Trump. Okay, so walls are bad except against the people we don't like. It's not really saying much. There will be hell to pay, making fun of his hair or his age, possibly. But I mean, again, it's not an argument. You're just making fun. You're just ad hominems. One huge mistake, I guess, making fun of his speech patterns. It's not funny anymore. Groper in chief. These are the same people who elected Bill Clinton and who are only too happy to... And, you know, wasn't Bill Clinton accused of the R word? Dozens of women? Jennifer Flowers was just one of them. And Monica Lewinsky is just... I mean, there's dozens of names of women. But you voted for Bill Clinton, guy who actually got impeached. Dog, please stay away. And you wanted to vote for his wife, someone who's actually evil. Okay, make racists scared again. Not mein Führer. You're comparing Trump to that Austrian corporal 70 years ago. That's a false equivalence. Trump has been of nothing but benefit to the economy. And home ownership and everything is pretty much better under Trump. You're trying to compare him to the Charlie Chaplin character. It just makes your side look like idiots. It makes you guys look like children. Okay, down with hate. Hate ain't great, but you guys are the party of Antifa. He uses violence and intimidation to beat up African Americans, Mexican Americans, Asian Americans, gays, and Jews. Those are who Antifa actually attacks and beats up. And you're the party of hate. So this kind of doublespeak doesn't make any sense. And then this is interesting. They said free speech rules, yada yada, say it, preach. Interesting, because you're also the side that wants to limit free expression because you believe that speech that disagrees with your political viewpoint is hate speech. And you don't believe in dialogue or debate because your ideas can't actually be defended. We shall overcome. Okay, you're making fun of his hair again. I mean, you're not addressing the argument, any argument whatsoever. You just ad hominems. Keep your tiny hands off our rights, like the Second Amendment, I guess is what they're talking about. This is it. These are the best comics that they could come up with. Okay, the accumulation of this work, an illustration of a tampon plugging a gun, a drawing of a woman bleeding pink through an American flag plunged through her chest, a comic strip detailing the stages of grief following the 2016 election in loud, unafraid colors, was printed and passed out for free at the Women's March. Yes, your comic is free because no one would pay for it. It was bundle after bundle. It actually went through 2 or 3 hours, even though we had 10 or 15,000 copies. Okay, so you handed somebody a free document. They took it and they probably littered it and threw it on the ground. Comics is a broad category encompassing daily newspaper strips, graphic novels that focus on specific human experiences, and of course the widely popular superhero genre, which itself has been used for political propaganda with icons like Captain America battling the communists. Oh, I'm sorry, I know that other authoritarian group that I can't say on YouTube. The broad umbrella also covers comics as protest art, with Resist just one example of a long practice of using comics as a form of activism. Hilary Shute, a comics scholar who has taught graphic literature at Harvard University. Oh, God. Whatever. Comics have been evolving with the changing times, adopting new materials, digital paper, and reflecting the social unrest of their eras. Aren't they escapist fiction meant to entertain for a profit? Oh, I'm sorry, profit's like a four-letter word to you people. From the unsettling aspects of World War II, you're talking about the Japanese treatment of the Chinese, the Koreans, and the POWs, the Japanese atrocities that the Japanese committed. You want to talk about that? And I guess not. That's verboten. To the nuclear threat of the Cold War, Alan Moore's The Watchmen. Naturally, it's also had a complicated history. Nass, for instance, supported indigenous and Chinese American communities in his work, but he also drew racist, anti-black, and anti-Irish cartoons. And the superhero pages were often accused of being too white in times of rising diversity. Don't say it. Don't say it. I won't say it. Even within San Francisco's own underground comic scene, where Shute says within the 60s and 70s, comics got reinvented, at least in the American context, as a countercultural form, existed racist stereotypes used for punchlines. So you're saying that your own left-wing people are also hypocrites. Great. One of the most iconic comic artists from the movement, R. Crumb, created a comic book character named Angel Food McSpade, who embodies racist and sexist stereotypes against black women. Probably because racist and sexist stereotypes can be funny. And as long as they're applied against both sexes, yes, there are only two, and all races, it's fine. You just have to apply it equally. But like many forms of art, the medium has been reclaimed by the marginalized communities it has ignored or hurt. So marginalized communities like the Irish, the Eastern Europeans, and the Mediterranean Europeans, are those also included under your marginalization and oppressed umbrella? Probably not. Martin Luther King Jr., The Montgomery Story, is a 10-cent comic in 1957 about King's boycott. Oh, okay. In 1973, Abortion Eve, a feminist narrative about birth control and women's reproductive rights, was released. 7 years later, in 1980, the first chapter of Maus was written and drawn by the legendary Art Spiegelman, Mooley's husband and not just Spiegelman's father. Maus was an anthropomorphized tale about the father's experience surviving the alleged event where some people allegedly did some things. It cast mice as Jews and cats as the communists. Oh no, I'm sorry, the N-word that I can't say on YouTube. Won a prize. Okay, these are the other comic books. The other comics. This is about the Japanese internment camps. Let me tell you, if you know anything, if you've read anything about the Japanese, George Takei, in World War II, there was nobody more monstrous than the Japanese. They used human beings for bayonet practice. They cut babies out of pregnant women's stomach. They would rape women to death and then rape them with bayonets. Nobody was worse than the Japanese. And yet, somehow, they only talk about the Germans. It's very strange how that happens. Anyway, this comic is about, I guess, a prisoner, someone living further away from their, their friend in prison or their father in prison. You're in prison because you hurt somebody. You hurt somebody either economically or violently. Crime against property or crime against a person. If you didn't do the crime, don't do the crime if you can't serve the time. Stop hurting people. What do you expect a society to do with people that hurt other people? What would you like them to do? In your ideal world, what would you like them to do? Keep them out of prison, keep them in the neighborhoods hurting people. Anyway, it's funny that they have another article in here about the Joker movie, which is just about what you expect. I'll make that one next. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and oh God, for more of this cringe. I'll see you guys next episode.